I am Michelle Rowan, President and COO of Franchise Business Review. We have worked with over 1,100 franchise systems over the past 17 years. We get feedback from franchisees to help the corporate teams better understand what franchisees think they are doing well and where there are opportunities to improve to help franchisees continue to thrive. Senior Care Authority is a professional senior placement and elder care management organization. Their national network of advisors help determine the right path for seniors in receiving the proper care and supervision. They provide advice and guidance relative to in-home care, assisted living, memory care, and other services to assist families and their parents or other loved ones. We've been working with the Senior Care Authority team since 2016. They receive high marks from their franchisees year after year. And the data in our senior care services sector consistently scores higher than the overall industry, which means every year we do this, the senior care franchisees are more satisfied and happier with their brands than most other segments. And this year, Senior Care Authority's overall franchisee satisfaction index score was 10% higher than the industry benchmark of all data for the senior care segment. The franchisees rated their leadership 22% higher than the average in that segment, and the quality of the services they provide 26% higher than the senior care benchmark, which is really outstanding. They've won Franchise Business Review's Top Franchisee Satisfaction Award for 7 consecutive years. And in addition to that, they've been named a top low-cost opportunity, a top franchise opportunity for women, a top innovative franchise, top senior care franchise opportunity, a top recession-proof franchise, a top franchise based on culture, and top franchises for veterans. It's a lot. So today I have the Senior Care Authority team here to talk about the programs and support that they offer that really makes their system exceptional. Today, joining me, I have Frank Samson, the founder and CEO. I have Matt Gurwell, franchise business consultant, Marcy Baskin, the VP of Franchise Support and Training, and Rob Gandley, the VP of Marketing. So first off, just thank you all for joining us here today to chat a little bit more about what makes you all so special.
Thank you, Michelle.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Pleasure.
So let's start by thinking about the new people that you're bringing in to join Senior Care Authority as a franchisee. So I recently read that there's over 60 franchise brands. So that means they're registered to grow as a franchise. Just those 60 brands are all in the senior care segment. So that's a pretty busy segment of franchising. And I really want to talk about what you guys feel makes you stand out from others that are playing in that space of offering support to senior care in all kinds of ways. So that's, I know that you don't handle all of those as far as like where they live, but we want to talk about what makes you guys different. So when I looked at the data from your franchisees and we asked on the survey, how do you guys compare to the local market competition? So that would mean that they're thinking about people that are franchise brands, but also any individual people that are in their markets that do the same. And you guys were rated 29% higher than the benchmark that we're seeing. So that's extremely high. And in addition, your innovation score is 42% higher than the benchmark. So those are some areas that really stood out to me. And I want to kind of understand, why do you think that those scores are so high? So I think I'll start with Frank to just kind of give us an overview of what you're all about and what you guys are doing as a brand.
Great. Well, thank you. And thanks for taking the time to speak with us. We're very proud of the awards we received. And I think that in answering your question, the one award to me that stands out the most of all of them is culture. And I think that is key as far as a differential for us. All right. And our franchisees obviously have expressed that. The 60 brands that you spoke about, I have great respect for all of them and what they do. The majority of them, though, the far majority of them are dealing in what we call in the industry as home care, and that's the far majority of them. And even though we provide advice and guidance to families on home care, that's not our area that we concentrate on. All right, so let's take about 50 some odd, 50 plus of those 60, and let's just put them aside. All right, because that's not our model. Our model has started out as what we call senior placement. It has evolved. I'll touch on it, but I don't want to steal the thunder of the other members of the team. So placement is what we define as providing families with guidance and help them find the best places to live and get proper care. All right, we're not providing the care, but we're guiding them on how to get that proper care. There are tens of thousands of what we call assisted living communities throughout the country, anywhere from small 3-bed homes to hundreds of beds in a larger assisted living community and memory care. And that's how we started out, specializing in that, and that's still our focus. So Marcy will probably get into much of the training, but we have well over 60 hours of training and coaching and on-site visitation. As we speak right now, Matt is actually at a location that once we're done with this call, he's going to be spending time with the franchise in the field. All right, a new franchise. So we spent a lot of time with them and helping them through that process. So some of the other friendly competitors of ours provide a similar type of a service, but we've realized through the years since we started that families need more. All right. So I guess, as they say, I'm going to tee it up for our other team members here to talk about what we refer to as elder care consulting. Marcy, who really was a key person in developing that for our company, and Matt Gurwell. Matt is the founder of Beyond Driving with Dignity. Those are a number of key services that we provide, and we'll talk about others as we go on. But that's kind of the real quick overview.
Sure, that's great. Okay, so what I hear when I'm talking to other franchise owners that are dealing in senior care is a hard part of the job for the people that are placing people in homes is the employees that actually do the help for the senior in the home. So you don't have that issue as far as hiring that person to actually be the caregiver. That's and right. That those laws are different in every state, which is a hard thing to figure out and navigate and regulate. So those are two things that I know are a complex part of other people in your general space that your franchise owners are not having to staff for. So I think that that's one thing that I'm picking up just from that intro piece that you said. So a couple of questions before we move on is your franchise owner the person that is doing this work with the families, or are they building out a team of people to do this work with the families that need this type of support?
It's a little bit of both. I would say it's mainly owner developed at the beginning. As I say to our newer franchisees, you need to get your hands dirty. Meaning, you need to just get involved and understand the business. Some have developed where they have a, number of people on their staff now. It is unusual that a new franchisee starts out by hiring someone to work for them day one, and they're kind of hands off.
Right.
So I would say in all cases, they're hands-on, but as time goes, some of them have developed a great team of people that in a sense are handling the day-to-day.
Great. So it can start owner operated, which is great. They don't even have to have employees to start, and they understand kind of the service that you're offering. They understand the model. And do you require a physical space that they're working out of, or can they start this from their home or from anywhere that they want? Is there a physical location?
Anywhere that they want. We recommend, if it's manageable and in their family to work from home. that would be best. And we're looking at that more from an economic standpoint. They don't have to go spend on rents. But we do have a few of our franchisees that, for whatever reason, it's just not going to work them working from home. So they get a small rental area, but it's certainly not a requirement. And over 90% of our franchisees are home-based.
Perfect. Great. So I think that helps give some context of how people kind of come into the system and at least get started.
Right.
So how about if we move over to you, Marcy? Let's start talking about some of the different ways that the ways that you support and train franchise owners, and what you think you guys are offering that really gives them more leverage when they open their business compared to if they were with another franchise system of any kind, really.
Okay, I can't speak to what other companies do in their training, but I could tell you very intimately what we do with ours. We get very granular about the training. I mean, we start them out with, we have them get a certification as a certified senior advisor. We require that of anybody who works in our system. And then when they start our online training, the first thing they do is learn about the business essentials. How do you run this business? And there's one-on-one coaching, there are videos, there are materials. And then when they're done with that, they get into the nitty-gritty of working with families. And that, we don't have enough time to go over all the things that they learn, but we make sure that they understand what kind of needs they're going to come up against. And families are very different. And sometimes, and this comes from my elder care consulting background, my education is in healthcare navigation. Families have things that are not visible. It's not just, I have a mom who needs assisted living, but I have a brother who's a power of attorney who's not going to release funds, or I have a sister who is doing the care, but she won't negotiate anything with the rest of the family. There are all kinds of situations. So we had added years ago a very intensive training in elder care consulting. What does that mean? Okay, so sometimes families need resources, like they're not going to place their mom in assisted living. Mom doesn't want to go and they don't want to make her, but she cannot be at home anymore. So we need a caregiver. If they can financially afford that, we help them vet caregivers and caregiving agencies, because they are not all created equal. And they're not, and it's not that one is bad and one is good. It's just different resources are appropriate for different families. We really dissect the situations that our franchisees will find themselves in, because if you think someone's going to call you and all you have to do is find them a bed in an assisted living or memory care that they can afford, you're wrong. It's not that, for sure. It's a lot more. Elder care consulting also includes things like Matt's program. I mean, he'll talk about that. And now that, and I know Frank is going to talk about E.A.S.E, but now that we're marketing ourselves as an employee benefit into companies, we have endless things that people need. And employees, based on studies, are at work, and 6 out of 10 employees are caregiving at home for someone 20 hours a week. Makes it pretty hard to have a full-time job. So we're helping with that, and our consulting really helps. As Frank said, the placement is our main specialty, because that's what we started with. But I started with the company by the time we franchised, by the time Frank franchised, I was already working with him, bringing in the elder care consulting. So all our new franchisees have had that training, in addition to the 60 hours of training that Frank has spoken about.
Okay, so and Marcy, I want to clarify. So what you're saying is, in today's world, I think that employers are having a hard time in retaining and finding great people. So what you're saying is, one of the benefits that people can offer is that the company is paying for your service, or doing a discount for your service for their team members when they need this type of support or this type of help navigating care for their own families.
Perfectly said.
Okay, that's amazing, because I think that is something that that your culture is impacting other cultures and how leaders take care of their people. So that I think that's just amazing to hear that a company would provide that resource for the people, because you didn't even talk about in the best case scenario, walking into one of these situations, there's so much emotion and stress that just if it's a perfect, easy transition for that person, it's still going to be hard on those people. So I think offering this as one of those benefits is really amazing. That's great.
Well, we're dealing with humans, and everybody is very
Yes.
complex, as are their issues and problems. And our franchisees are trained to note the complexities and help them solve the problem.
Yeah.
Or the
Well,
puzzle.
and that's that, we all talk about the one thing we can't get back is time. And so if you're helping them get to that solution quicker, I mean, that's invaluable. So that's fantastic. So Frank and Marcy have both talked about this Beyond Driving with Dignity program. So Matt, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about what that program is about and what that does for your franchisees for their businesses too.
Exactly, Michelle. I like to think we at Senior Care Authority offer a holistic approach to the senior care issue, and a tiny piece of that, which kind of falls under the elder care consulting umbrella, is our Beyond Driving with Dignity program. It was just by way of introduction, I'm a retired Ohio State trooper, and I saw throughout my career that there was a void in the system, so to speak, on what we do with older drivers that should not be driving any longer. And I want to make clear that I'm not talking about all older drivers. Many of them are great drivers and will be hopefully for years to come. But certainly there is a component of them that should no longer be driving. So when I retired, as a way to the passion part behind the Beyond Driving with Dignity program was, over my career, I'd done dozens of death notifications. And I wanted to create a program that was more proactive than what law enforcement often is, to help keep these tragedies from happening in the first place. So we developed what we call a self-assessment program. So by definition, we're not driving assessors, and this is not a driving assessment program. What we do is bring a basket of tools to the older driver. The session typically takes place at their home, at their kitchen table, the one place in the world they're most comfortable. And we work through this session with them 2.5 hours in time, and help them, empower them to make the right decisions at the end of the session on their own, as opposed to it being forced upon them by the medical community, by family. We certainly all know of cases where family has been on mom or dad to give up driving, and that's become a struggle. And many times, Michelle, you know this, but it divides families. So this program, that's one of the ancillary benefits. Number one, it's meant to save lives. That's first and foremost. But immediately behind that, it helps maintain the integrity of the family unit. When the older driver goes through this session, again, to reiterate, that he or she is still the decision maker in the process. And because of that, that's kind of like the lightning in the bottle thing. That's kind of the magic of the program. Because of that, they typically choose to make the right decisions. And, most of us, if you would have told me that I can go and get older drivers to voluntarily give up driving, I would have known better. That won't happen. But it actually does, because what happens is these folks are backed into a corner, so to speak. Their adult children have been on them to give up driving. The doctor has talked to them. Maybe the police followed them home or wrote them a traffic citation recently. The neighbor's tired of dad backing over his mailbox all the time. So he's backed into a corner and he's feeling the pressure. And this program allows him to, again, to be the decision maker. And because of that, he takes that option. And by doing so, he's able to maintain his dignity, his pride, and his independence. We help him stay independent. But the very name of the program is Beyond Driving with Dignity, because that dignity is such a huge piece of this particular program. And it has proven itself extremely valuable to our franchise owners as a value-added service, an additional tool that they have to expose themselves to the community, and a nice service that they can offer in their local communities that is very, very proactive and positive.
Yeah, and I was going to say too, there's just a nice education component of that too. So you're getting in the community and you're becoming a thought leader in that kind of area, and it's It's a great way
Yes.
to be exposed to
Yes,
your.
men, and to tack on to what you said about the educational component, we are also all trained to do 2 group presentations that we have for the public. One is meant for older drivers themselves, and that is just a 1-hour presentation that we do in a local community that for older drivers that is meant, it's not a driver refresher class in any way. It's we don't talk about what color stop signs are and when to turn on your wipers. It's meant to be an empowerment session where we show them that as long as you stay aware of diminished driving skills and make appropriate adjustments in your driving behavior, you can actually extend your safe driving career. So it's a very powerful thing. But the one far more popular, Michelle, is titled Adults with Aging Parent Drivers, and that is for adult children that might be worried about mom or dad's driving. So in 1 hour's time, we do the best we can to walk them through that process, tell them what to look for, tell them some do's and don'ts when they're talking to mom or dad about possible driving cessation or driving retirement. And then lastly, and I'll stop, we offer 2 continuing education presentations as well for nurses, social workers, case managers, discharge planners, and the like. So it's an excellent way for our franchise owners to get in front of the medical community, where maybe before, as if they were limited to just talking about placement or even elder care consulting, they might be it might be a little tougher for them to get in and talk to these folks and to meet with them. But having this Beyond Driving with Dignity program available to them opens even more doors than would otherwise be open.
Awesome.
Michelle, if you don't mind, I just to add something. My team knows I have a tough time not talking, so try to get it. Marcy's going, yeah. So what the thing that to remember is, from a financial standpoint, from the franchisee's perspective, placement is commission based into assisted living and memory care. All right. So the dollars that are earned, they could make pretty significant dollars. All right. What Marcy is talking about in elder care consulting, and she didn't even get into all the various services, Beyond Driving with Dignity being one of them. Okay. Those are all paid for by the individual or the family. All right. Versus placement, which is, we don't work for free. We don't like to say we work for free. We don't. But their fees are being paid by the assisted living community. One of the key reasons in developing elder care consulting and adding Beyond Driving with Dignity amongst those list of services that we offer is that it provides a tremendous service to the family. I mean, Marcy developed a program called Essential Conversations, just sitting around the kitchen table or on a Zoom call with family members who may not be getting along on what the next step should be for mom or dad. And it's a tremendous program. But that could lead into placement eventually. May not. But while they're providing these types of services, again, they're getting paid for those services, and then it could lead into placement. All right. And I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
Can I piggyback on something Frank just said and something Matt said? Matt, I just made a note because he used the word empowering people, the older driver. And most of the people that we work with directly are not necessarily the senior who needs to move to assisted living. We are working with family members, mostly adult children, who feel completely disempowered. And I can speak to this myself because I had a personal experience with it, where you own a business and you've bought real estate and you know how to buy a car or an appliance. And then it comes to senior care and you don't even know what questions to ask. So I think a lot of the work that we do with families, in placement and elder care consulting, and of course in Beyond Driving with Dignity, we're empowering people. And instead of feeling helpless and hopeless, and I always like to say to franchisees that one of my favorite phone calls is when someone calls me. I've never spoken to them before. They got my number from someone. And we talk through their situation, and maybe I can help them, maybe I can. Maybe they don't have the funds to pay for assisted living, but I know what the alternatives are. But we just talk it through, and they get off the phone and they say, thank you so much. I feel so much lighter now, and I don't feel like I'm doing this all alone. And then I know we're doing the right thing, because that's what we're trying to do, is to partner with the families.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think too, you know, Frank mentioned it too, is that there's nothing wrong with how you get paid to do your job. I think it's great that you're being transparent in where those dollars are coming from. And I mean, you're building a relationship with them, so you want them to trust you. So I think having that mix of, you know, here's what the stuff is that we're going to help you till you get to that point, and here's,
Exactly.
you know, who's paying for those services. I think that's fantastic. So that's great. And I also am hearing, which is, I think, great for a person looking to get into a franchise system, that there's multiple revenue streams. So all these different ways that you're getting involved in growing your business are going to help you be more successful, which is great. So I want to go back, Frank. I'd love for you to tell us more about this E.A.S.E program, if we didn't cover it all just in that quick kind of mention, as far as how this is a benefit, how this can be a benefit for some companies.
So
For their-
E stands for Employee Assistance
For solutions in elder care.
for Solutions for Elder
Hard
Care.
to get out of your mouth. It is.
So the back a few years back, Harvard Business School did a whole study, which is a tremendous, you know, there's been more since. AARP did a study, but what Marcy mentioned before, there are so many employees that are having to take care of a parent or another loved one, and presenteeism and absenteeism is on the rise. Most people have heard of absenteeism, but presenteeism means, you know, they might be in front of their computer, they're supposed to be working, but they're not concentrating because they're worried about mom or dad. And we recognized back then, actually, we picked up our first clients back then, just prior to that study coming out. So we recognized it, but when the study came out, things really started to turn, and we started to work. We've been working, you know, COVID hit, and, you know, it kind of set things back a little bit with companies, but we're back into gear and providing all the various services that we've been going through today to companies for their employees. And it's, you know, most of our business comes from professional referrals, doctors, lawyers, financial planners, et cetera. When I say our business, I'm talking our franchisees' business.
Yeah. Yep.
It's another referral source. All right. It's a company that has a number of employees that could use assistance. So we've Rob can, you know, talk to it, but Rob has set up with his team a, you know, beautiful website that we set up for the companies, very educational, so the employees can, you know, go to it and learn. And that's what we're trying to do, is just to educate them, stay in front of them, and when they need to reach out, they reach out to us. And fortunately, we have franchisees all over the country that could help them in their local communities. So that's kind of the skinny of it. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but that's pretty much what we're doing, and we're all very, very excited about the program, and it's helping more and more people, and that's what we've always achieved to do.
Yeah. So Rob, let's have you kind of wrap things up, but it sounds to me, and I'd love your thoughts on this, that for your franchise candidate that's coming to join the brand, you're really looking for someone that wants to be involved in their local community. That is where their relationships are growing. That's where they're building these referral networks. Is that who you're looking for? Are you doing more to help them get in front of those people other than providing them the training on how to deliver the content? So just kind of let us know how you guys position all of this to really help those franchisees as they come into the system.
Yeah. Well, I think we hit on three key areas today that make us very different, at least for now. And they were all driven by what we believe our audience needs, right? What folks need. And we just touched on one, and it's called E.A.S.E, And that is an employee benefit program that really, if you think about it, allows the employer to participate and help the employee. And if you look at all the latest research, we mentioned 1 in 6 employees investing 20 hours a week, up to 20 hours a week with caregiving responsibilities. That's a big impact to a company, right? And keeping folks, and then there's an impact to these folks being focused and the stress that comes with it. So it's an opportunity. E.A.S.E is an opportunity for a company to throw that lifeline to the employees and give them access to our world-class consulting that we just spoke of, that allows the employee to really just, wherever they're from, right, raise their hand. One of the interesting pieces of research that we did come across was that a lot of employees don't like to share that they are struggling, right? It's not something they tell their supervisor for many reasons we can all kind of identify with. And so it's an underserved, under talked about need, right? And so E.A.S.E is really a way to bring awareness, help the employer, help the employee, and go from there. So that's one very key area, allows us to, again, get into the community. And we do talk to the franchisees about this. It's a great way for them to actually do the outreach to meet the business professionals that have their own businesses many times. So there is some overlap there with E.A.S.E and with them being partners. So we love that. And we do want, franchisees that see the benefit of that, right? So E.A.S.E is a big differentiator. The second thing we talked about today was Beyond Driving with Dignity. And that, again, as a marketer, what we talked to the franchisees about, we talked to them about why that's so powerful. Now, Matt really honed in on the purpose and the impact, but I think there's one word, right? Or 2 words, self-assessment, right? I think if you ask a doctor or a nurse their input on what would help get the keys away from a senior, and the answer in their head is somewhere around make it their idea, right? But they don't know how to get it out. They don't know how to explain it. And so our marketing is very much about, hey, we have something here that can do that. And it's very successful. And when a doctor or a nurse hears that, it's a great door opener. So as a marketer, that's what we talk about. We talk, well, how can a doctor's office, how can we differentiate ourselves? How can we sound different than your competitors, right? And that allows us to open very important doors with people in the community. So again, that's a beautiful thing. And then the third thing was the consulting as really a foundation, right? E.A.S.E is sort of a bridge, right, to the consulting. Allows the employer to pay for the employee and the employee to get the bridge over. But the consulting that we offer, again, is world-class. And it covers pretty much anything that can be touched from these scenarios, right? Whether it's financial, whether it's legal, whether it's regarding the home or moving or insurance. It could be many things. And again, we cover those bases for them and help give them the solution they need. So those 3 things make this a unique opportunity for us and allow us to do what everyone else is doing, but do it better. So
yeah, that's great. So Marcy, I'm going to go back to you because I understand that you're also a franchise owner. So you work for the corporate team and you also have a franchise location. And one of the things that really stood out to me is it's great to have training, but there's other pieces that make franchise systems so strong for a new business owner that's coming in. And 97% of the franchisees on the survey said that they strongly agree that all franchisees are supportive of the brand. And also 97% said that the franchisees are supportive of each other. So I would love just your perspective as far as how does your brand foster that relationship between franchisees, or how do you reach out to them and how do they help you with your business challenges or successes that you might not see in other systems, or you might not see if you are an individual business owner versus being in a franchise?
Okay, I think I know what the question is. Like, why did we get the 97% rating? Okay. Frank has created a culture, and I give him credit for it because he founded this company and we've all followed along to nurture this, of one of openness and honesty and support. And as a franchise owner, well, let me back up for a second. In my job as the VP of franchisee support and training, so I'm wearing that hat. If anybody ever has a question about any case or any family they're working with, and aside from all the technology stuff that they might need help with, but I mean, really with the job itself, they can reach out to us. They can call Frank. I mean, how many companies can you call the CEO and the VPs and they pick up their phone, or they call you right back, or you send them an email? So we think it's really important that when they have an issue that we help them find the solution, just kind of like what we do with our families, we do with our franchisees. We have twice a month, we have phone calls when the entire network is on the call. And we have them very early in the morning on the West Coast and in the middle of the day on the East Coast. And most everybody comes because that's where people get to, we bring speakers in and we have trainings and we have things like that. But the meeting is an hour and a half at least. And people get to air things and say, yeah, I'm not really sure what to do about this. I have a Beyond Driving with Dignity client, and this is what happened. What's the next step here? And we're all there to brainstorm with them. And that's the only way I would want. If I was just a franchisee or a person looking to buy a franchise in this space, I would be looking for that. Like, where do I go when I get stuck? This is a new business for me. I might be smart, but I've never done this business before. So you have 60 people who are all willing to help. And we have internal communication boards, and the culture is amazing. I can understand why we got such high ratings, because nobody's competitive with each other, and nobody is stingy about what they've learned. And that's our culture. That's what people are talking about. And I always say this whole business is about relationships, right from the top, relationships with your franchisees, their relationships with each other, and our relationships as franchisees with our clients. And our B2B partners. Everything is a relationship. I mean, people roll their eyes when I say that because I say it a lot, but that's what I believe about our business. And that's why we have those ratings.
Yeah, that's
If
great.
I could add a lot of the ideas we've implemented come from the franchisees.
I was just going to ask you that, Frank, is how much of this is coming from them talking about something they've tried or a need that their clients have?
Majority.
Yeah.
Hey, a franchisee called me up and said, "Hey, Frank, you need to talk to this guy, Matt Gurwell, because I'm using this Beyond Driving with Dignity program." And so really a franchisee brought Matt, even though I knew of Matt and we knew of each other, but they brought it to my attention. And many services that we've had that we brought to the table, franchisees have enhanced it.
Yeah.
There was one recently, I'm not going to we don't have to get all the detail now, but it was something that Marcy created, but then another franchisee kind of took it and massaged it a little and came back to us and said, "What do you think about this?" We went, "Wow, that's fantastic."
Rolled it out as an enhanced program.
And I would say that's also something that really stands out of what makes you special, is because it's varying. But when I started with Eric doing this business 17 years ago, it was very much more command and control, follow our playbook. And so franchisees had all these great ideas and they were doing things in their local markets, but they weren't sharing it back with the corporate office because they didn't want to get in trouble. So you've created this great environment where great ideas are being shared, and there's enough openness that other people can do a little bit something different or offer other advice to it. And that also stood out when I looked at your data, because we asked the question of how well does the senior management team involve franchisees in important company decisions, and you're 42% higher than the benchmark. So that shows that there's an openness to it, that you're all trying to do what's right for your clients and for each other. So that really shined in your data as well.
Michelle, if I could add real quick, we also use our more experienced franchise owners for coaching and mentoring sessions as well. So, some of these folks have been in this industry and with Senior Care Authority for many years, and they've become experts at helping families. And we've been able to kind of divvy out who's an expert at this and who's an expert at that, because we've got more than enough people that are so well versed in some of these specialty things that we assign them as coaches to the new franchise owners. And the other thing we have that I want to mention just real quick, you asked about the integrity of the network itself. We also have a BPR program, a best practice review, where either Marcy or I meets with every franchise owner on a semi-annual basis. And we talk about, number one, a little bit of the time is spent on compliance issues, just making sure that all of our owners are in compliance with the things we need to be in compliance with. But more importantly, we brainstorm ways to help them increase their revenue or decrease their expenses, or how to develop additional business-to-business referral partners. And it's just, in my opinion, it's a wonderful program and very valuable to the franchise owners.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Not a one-size-fits-all conversation or support model. So I love that.
And I want
So
to
is
make
there
sure
anything?
that
Oh, go ahead,
I
Marcy.
wanted to say, also piggyback on Matt about the coaches and mentors. When we started selling franchises, Frank and I did all the coaching and all the mentoring. We did the site visits, we did everything. And as the company grew, we did exactly what Matt described. We picked people who have been really successful, who have been in the system at least 3 years and have an area of expertise. For example, how do you pay for long-term care? You know, that's just popped into my head. Or creating a marketing plan for your business. And these sessions are integrated into our training. So as they're coming along with all this knowledge, they're also getting one-on-one personal coaching sessions with a peer coach. And then they eventually get assigned to a mentor for 6 months that we pay for. And we want to make sure that every franchisee feels like they have somewhere to go. So
Yeah,
it really helps their businesses.
that's great. So I'll just leave it to you guys. Is there anything else you feel like people that don't know Senior Care Authority should know, a reason to reach out and talk with you more about becoming a franchisee? I think you answered all of my questions, so I appreciate that. But what else do they need to know, or how do they reach you to sign up and talk more?
Well, I would just note, and it may just be an afterthought or expected, but technologically speaking, the company is definitely advanced. We have a very large web presence. We serve the community with a directory, which many might not realize. It's over 50,000 pages and provides all the assisted living communities in the country. So that is built also to support the franchisees with marketing, as well as all the other tools that we provide, right? But we pay a lot of attention to that. We always want to stay ahead of the curve. We look at it as a perpetually evolving idea that you just have to keep looking for the edge, right? Which is a lot of what we talked about today was to give our franchisees the edge they need. So definitely from a technological point of view and a marketing point of view, we provide that.
Yeah, well, and that's great. So they can focus on their business while you're focusing on how to grow the brand, which makes their business more valuable. So it's great.
And
Yeah.
I think, but, going back to your question, we hear this from new franchisees, or even those that decided not to purchase a franchise, all right, that we never pressured them, all right, because, we're going to be living with them for many years, all right, and as much as they want to be sure we're the right fit for them, we want to make sure that they're the right fit for us. So it goes both ways. So, there's no rush. Anybody that watches this video and says, I kind of want to talk to these guys, just, you go to our website, seniorcareauthority.com. There's a section in there for franchise opportunities. There's all sorts of information that you could get in touch with us, either via email or call, and our people in franchise development do a tremendous job, and just kind of take you through what's called that discovery process, and step by step. And if it's a good fit, then great. And if not, it's not. It's not necessarily for everybody. All right. And but we're very proud of the company, and as you can see by the team of people here, we got a great team of people, which leads into why people like our culture. And we just, we thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about it.
Yeah, this was great. Excellent. I appreciate all of your time. Thank you so much. And look forward to just seeing how you guys continue to grow and support the franchisees.
Thanks for all the good work that you do on behalf of franchises. It's really great and lovely to meet you in person.
Yeah,
Sort of,
lovely to meet
sort
you
of in
too.
person.
Yeah. Close.
Well,
Close.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you.
Michelle.